Psychic Reprieve, Deception and Reality. Written by Mitchell Nevin, narrated by George Kutch. Chapter 3. Buried with Time. Mark Fredrickson placed a cardboard box on a dingy gray desk. This would likely be his last moving day, a term used to describe a transfer from one unit to another. 24 years had come and gone since he had taken an oath as a young recruit officer at the Milwaukee Police Department's MDP Safety Academy. 2 days shy of his 52nd birthday, the detective had accepted Lieutenant John Klossick's offer to work cold case murders. Fredrickson was asked once before but declined until his partner in the MDP's homicide unit, Detective Maureen Donnell, was eligible to work alongside him. The move from the Police Administration Building's PAB, 4th floor to the 5th, didn't take long. Unlike the trendy spaces allocated to investigators on television crime dramas, the cold case unit's digs were nothing special. A cramped office, old chairs, and bright fluorescent ceiling lights. Removing the contents from the box and into a set of aluminum desk drawers, the detective came upon a photograph of his police academy class. Father Time had noticeably aged Fredrickson's formerly chiseled face and turned a once thick head of brown hair almost white. Naturally lean in stature, gravity had nonetheless grabbed hold of a small roll of stomach flab, depositing the excess just above his waistline. As he walked toward the lieutenant's office, Fredrickson observed the yellow interdepartmental mail envelope protruding from a slot bearing his name. Inside was a note left behind by his now-retired predecessor, Detective Mike Blanco, titled, "Those That Haunt Me." Blanco had compiled a list of 29 women, primarily African-American prostitutes or drug addicts, strangled to death on Milwaukee's north side. 9 of the names had black lines through them. Their murders were attributed to the so-called North Side Strangler, a man arrested nearly 4 years earlier. Fredrickson recognized 3 of the names: Michelle Thornton, Michaela James, and Destiny Thigpen, from cases that he had originally caught in the homicide unit. These were the type of victims society might easily forget, whose poor choices, addictions, and criminal activity put them squarely in harm's way. After the arrest of the Northside Strangler, critics of the homicide unit chastised investigators for failing to follow up on leads due to the victim's social status and race. From personal experience, Fredrickson knew that these slayings would prove difficult to clear. Prostitutes and drug addicts live untraditional lifestyles. They do not wake up each morning at a specific time to get ready for work. They are often absent or still on drug binges when their children leave for school. They do not punch an employer's clock, nor do they visit parents or close relatives on a regular basis. Since most of these women were engaged in criminal activity, their financial transactions were conducted with untraceable cash, and their liaisons with various Johns never made their way into a day planner. Thus, as their bodies were discovered inside abandoned houses, deposited in garbage carts, or found under a mattress in a vacant lot, it was extremely difficult to establish a solid investigative timeline, a guide detectives used to include or exclude potential suspects. Fredrickson checked a grease board mounted to the door of the lieutenant's office, explaining the whereabouts of cold case unit's members. His new lieutenant was in the midst of a mandatory staff meeting until noon, while his partner, Maureen Donnell, was in court. The detective decided to use Mike Blanco's note as a starting point. He pulled a partial investigative file regarding the unsolved cases of his predecessor's list. Fredrickson then compiled a chart to compare each case. Victim, incident date, location, M.O., cause of death. Naomi Greer, record for prostitution, body discovered on 4/2/2011, McGovern Park Lagoon, northwest side, manually strangled to death, dumped in the lagoon, likely in December. Keisha Strong, record for prostitution, body discovered under a mattress on a lot of a vacant duplex on 8/15/2010, 2439 North 23rd Street. naked from the waist down, strangled with her own brassiere, throat slit. Michelle Thornton, body discovered stuffed inside a sewer manhole, 6/13/2010, in the middle of the street in front of 3206 North 34th Street. Ligature strangulation, completely nude. Cleopatra Kirkpatrick, record for drugs. Body discovered inside a city garbage cart, 9/10/2007. Alley, rear of 1141 North 14th Street. Ligature strangulation, one leg sawed off and missing. Kendra Baldwin, possibly dope dating. Body discovered inside a bedroom of a vacant house on 4/13/2007, 2731 North 10th Street. Manual strangulation, posed with left hand near her genitalia. Shamika Johnson, prostitution. Body discovered under a pile of used car tires in a vacant lot, 10/12/2006, at 1830 West Fond du Lac Avenue. Ligature strangulation, blunt force trauma to the head. Rhonda McAllister, 15-year-old missing/runaway. Body discovered inside a city garbage cart, 7/5/2006. Alley, rear of 2855 North 23rd Street. Ligature strangulation. Megan Harshholder, 16-year-old runaway from the suburb of Greendale, dope dating. Body discovered inside upper level of abandoned house, 6/6/2006. 1908 North 29th Street. Manually strangled to death, naked, posed with arm behind her back. Destiny Thigpen, record for prostitution, drugs. Body discovered inside the garage of a vacant house, 9/23/2005, 2755 North 33rd Street. Manual strangulation, blunt force trauma to the head. Michaela James, record for prostitution. Body fell from a commercial dumpster during garbage removal, 7/17/2004, behind a fast food restaurant in the 1600 block of West North Avenue. Ligature strangulation, completely nude. Rosalind Cotton, record for drugs, shoplifting, loitering, prostitution-related. Discovered by firefighters in the trunk of a burning Cadillac Seville, stolen 9/22/2003, behind a boarded-up duplex at 1939 North 26th Street. Probable ligature strangulation, blunt force trauma to the head. Maxine Mims, record for prescription drug fraud and theft. Found caught on a tree limb in the Milwaukee River, 6/22/2002, near an industrial company at 2400 North Cambridge Avenue. Manual strangulation, throat slit. Princess McCoy, topless dancer, record for drugs. Found by a man walking his dog, 10/12/2001, inside a wooded area of Havens Wood Preserve at 5661 North Sherman Boulevard. Manual strangulation. Danita Harwood, 17-year-old missing/runaway from Chicago. Discovered inside a steel drum by a sanitation worker, 8/28/2000. In the rear of a corner store at 2331 West Center Street. Ligature strangulation, blunt force trauma to the head. Stephania Choquet, prostitution, drugs. Found by a landlord inside the bedroom of an upper-level flat, 12/9/1999, 2473 West Monroe Street. Ligature strangulation, posed with left arm under her body. Sharon Jennings, prostitution. Found by a homeless man under the Holton Street Bridge, 9/1/1999, 1500 North Holton Street. Manual strangulation. Lividity indicates the body was likely moved after death. Monique Gary, prostitution, drugs. Discovered in an office of a vacant/boarded-up business, 6/12/1998, 3210 North 32nd Street. Ligature strangulation, body posed. Juliana Reyes, drug convictions. Found under a dirty mattress in a vacant lot, 10/7/1996, 3771 North Port Washington Road. Manual strangulation, blunt force trauma to the head. Amika Anderson, 15-year-old runaway. discovered by a handyman inside a bedroom of a vacant home, 4/20/1996, 2935 North 6th Street, ligature strangulation. Marcia Jeffries, found in a wooded area of Lincoln Park, 6/13/1994, 4700 North Green Bay Avenue, manual strangulation, moved after death. 45 minutes later, Fredrickson heard the office door open. Lieutenant John Klosik entered and observed a slew of paperwork spread across the detective's desk. "Welcome. I see that you've wasted little time getting started." Fredrickson sat back in his chair. "Blanco left some suggestions in my mailbox, although I found the investigations he cherry-picked kind of odd. There are cold cases involving young boys and girls molested and killed, and innocent women who left for work but never returned, so why would Blanco prioritize a slew of murders involving hookers?" "Mike had a soft spot in his heart for the downtrodden," Klosik explained. "These women were, no doubt, the dregs of society, drug addicts, whores, and thieves. Nonetheless, they were violently murdered. Blanco felt that they deserved justice, too. To his credit, he prioritizes the cases based on solvability factors. The most likely way to clear them is DNA science, the testing of which gets better each year as private labs develop techniques to locate additional trace evidence. It's not rocket science to deduce that the people who killed these women are either dead or their info is in the state or federal DNA databases. We just need the matching DNA to prove it." "I'm going to work the ligature sets first," Fredrickson said. "I was the primary on Michelle Thornton. I remember that the knot on the rope used to strangle her was a timber hitch, something commonly used by forestry workers." Klosik pointed to a piece of paper on the detective's desk. "If you haven't gotten that far yet, that was the same type of ligature knot used in the Rhonda McAllister, Rosalind Cotton, Danita Harwood, and Stephanie Choquet homicides. Blanco suspected a city forestry employee because McAllister was found stuffed head first inside a city-owned garbage cart. That listed to a different address. We checked it out, though, and the guy has an alibi Blanco couldn't debunk. That type of knot does reduce the pool of potential suspects, though." "Did Blanco ever consider a suspect from outside the central city, possibly a white guy?" Fredrickson asked. "We had the FBI's behavior science unit take a look at these cases. They said whoever committed these offenses knows the area well, feels comfortable operating in the vicinity, and would raise little suspicion in the central city. These murders, for the most part, occurred in some of the toughest sections of town. Not many white males are going to dope date or troll around alone in the middle of the night looking for victims in these areas. If they did, people would notice and word would spread, especially among the streetwalkers." "I've got some catching up to do, Lud. I'm going to read through Blanco's reports, pull some crime scene photos, and check the inventories. I'll start by focusing on the timber hitch victims first."